Okay, welcome back to the Caribou Media Outdoors podcast. With me this afternoon is Laura Groesbeck from Laura's Outdoor Life. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. We
Good.
finally got this sorted out. That's great. We're going
Yeah.
back and forth
Technical
for a bit.
difficulties.
Oh yeah, but just scheduling too. I think I canceled on you a couple times, and life, it happens. But um,
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to get this going.
Yeah.
Um, so what I usually like to do with this is kind of go back in time a little bit and see how people got into hunting, and if there was a person that got you into it, or if it was just an interest of yours. So how did that all play out for you?
Well, I grew up always loving the outdoors. Like I was always playing outside. When I was really little, I would like pretend to be in survival situations in my backyard and
Yeah,
like
same.
build random structures out of like junk and like pretend like I was needed to make it and foraging for bugs as if they were like food. Never ate them, but like I always like romanticized that kind of like living. Jeremiah Johnson was my favorite movie of all time. I just loved the idea of like going and living in the mountains and making it.
Mhm.
Um, my dad hunted a bit when I was growing up. I grew up in Eastern Washington,
Okay.
where like it's like 95% private land. So it's really hard to go out and hunt if you don't have permission for like deer or elk or anything. And my dad would always go over to Idaho and would maybe go like one weekend a year because he was a single dad. It was really hard for him to get out, like, away from my sister and I. And when he had the opportunity to go, it was like, oh, do I really want to take my 8, 9, 10-year old or whatever, however age I was, to like
Yeah.
try to teach me while he's also trying to fill his freaking tag. And
Hmm.
so I went out with my dad probably twice ever before I was 18,
Okay.
just for 2 evening hunts. But I always wanted to go hunting. Like I just have had the interest, had the desire. I love to be outside. And when I was in later high school, I used to go out by myself, take my dad's Honda Civic up into the mountains
Nice.
and just park randomly on some like public land and just go for a walkabout. Had no idea what the hell I was doing. Didn't shoot anything that way.
Hmm.
Um, but I was 17 years old and I finally shot my first deer. It was a nice whitetail. And from the moment I got my first deer, I was like, this is it. Like, this is the thing. And this is what I've been wanting to feel and do for so long. And yeah, that's kind of it. My stepdad growing out would take me out like one weekend a year for elk from the time I was 12 to 16 years old. But it was really just like walking around some logging roads. It was
Right.
I really appreciated that he took the time to take me out, but there wasn't a lot of education behind what we were even doing. So I learned a lot as an adult, my like all my hunting knowledge, especially a lot more in the last 7 years because I just had a life changing thing happen where I ended up having more time and I could finally do all the things that I wanted to do and learn and go into it full force.
Right.
So yeah, a
Okay.
little bit of the non-traditional way. I used to say I grew up hunting, but like now that I do hunt, I look back and I'm like, I absolutely did not. I always wanted to, but like my kids are growing up hunting and my
Yeah.
kids' lives are day and night difference from what I had when I was a kid.
Right. And you've got 4 kids, is it?
Yeah, 4 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, beautiful chaos. It's not a
Beautiful.
boring
That's a
day in my life.
yeah, that's a great way to. And they're all interested in the outdoors and being a part of it.
Yep. Yeah, all of them. Like so I've got 4, 2 boys, 2 girls. Leah's gonna be 14 end of October. Weston's gonna be 13 in December. Then Wyatt's 11 and Allie's 9. So 3 of the 4 are big game hunting already.
Oh wow.
Leah loves whitetail and turkey hunting. Weston loves everything, like hunting, fishing, and trapping, and he's like he was born for it. Like he truly has it in his soul. He's so good, has great instincts of a hunter, and it like fuels his soul. Wyatt loves deer hunting. Shot his first whitetail this last year, and he shot a bunch of turkeys, and he loves fishing. And then Allie, she just shot her first turkey this last year, loved it. And she's a hardcore little fisherman too. So they all love the outdoors in so many aspects, which I couldn't ask for anything more.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's definitely something that I kick myself now. I got started into it later in life. I was in my mid-30s maybe when we moved from the suburbs to the country, and everybody out here is hunting, and you go coach the hockey team, your kids' hockey team, and the other coaches are hunters, right? So I kind of got thrown into people that were doing it, and then just by talking to them, and then we have a farmer down the road that sells grass-fed, grass-finished beef, so we got some meat from him, and it tasted different than the stuff from the grocery store. So then the wheels start turning. What does everything else taste like? So that's kind of where I came from for it. Were you doing rifle first? You said you were walking around with your dad at a young age. So was rifle hunting come first, or bow hunt, or when did all that come?
I did rifle first because it's just, I think that's the standard for most people to get into is with a rifle. And then I dabbled with archery, and I went on an archery hunt this year, but I've shot a couple things with my bow, a small whitetail buck, a whitetail doe, a cow elk. And but yeah, it was mainly all rifle. The archery is really new to me. Honestly, I'm still very, very green when it comes to like the archery hunting knowledge and like all the things that go into like knowing your bow. I'm very minimal. I actually grew up shooting. That is one thing I actually did do as I grew up shooting traditional. My dad and my uncle grew up shooting longbows and recurves, and my uncle is a hardcore traditional bow hunter. He shot all of the big game in Colorado with his recurve, I think. And he hasn't touched a rifle since he was like a little kid for like freaking gophers and stuff. But so I grew up shooting a recurve, and I did hunt one year when I was 25 with a recurve. I didn't get anything. I did try my best, but so the knowledge between the two is drastically different with like you pretty much just pick it up and flings. Like it's very just intuitive shooting versus all of the technical stuff that goes into like a compound bow. It's crazy, and how it changes literally from year to year on the tech that goes into it. So yeah, I mainly rifle hunt and then just kind of dabble around with archery.
Do you have a favorite caliber that you use? Did you use one gun for everything, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, so I actually do have a one size fits all kind of rifle. It's my 6.5 PRC Mossberg Patriot.
Nice.
I've had it now for I think almost 5 years, and everything I've shot in the last 5 years has been with that gun. All of it, like anywhere from 60 yards at my bear bait to 525 yards at that mule deer I got this last year. So it's just with how we hunt and where we live, I just like the option to be able to carry around or like a caliber that works well efficiently for all the big game that I'm hunting, and gives me the option to stretch my shot out as far as I'm comfortable and I practice to shoot. So, and I practice out to 700 yards.
Nice.
But,
so the Patriot, that's the one that has the scope is slightly forward. It's like a scout scope. Is that right?
No, mine's is standard. So I've got a Vortex Viper, I think, on it.
Yeah.
If I remember right. But no, it's just where the standard scope sits.
That's cool. Yeah, 6.5. That's like that is like a dual round, right? It's nice that you can like it's the same thing with archery where people say, "Oh, I've got a whitetail arrow, I've got an elk arrow, I'm like, "Nope, fuck that. I'm gonna do one thing. One size, and I'm gonna use it for everything." Not make it overly complicated here.
Yeah. I like it when it's simple and just straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, my hat goes off to you for getting your kids involved. I'm kind of kicking myself because when I first got started, I was trying to learn myself, and my kids were at the age where they would have. Well, my son wanted to come with me a few times, and
Hmm.
I didn't bring him with me because I was trying to figure it out myself, and
Yeah.
I always kick myself for that because that could have been something that we did together.
Yeah.
Um, he's now 18 and wants to get his license, so he's working on it right now, actually.
That's awesome.
So that's great. But yeah, I do beat myself up a bit for not doing it sooner when he was significantly younger and just wanted to spend time with his dad, right? So that's
Yeah.
good for you to do that. You also have you have a business where you design you do beadwork on skulls, is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It always sounds weird anytime I meet somebody, they ask what I do. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I beat skulls. It just sounds weird when I say it too.
You do
So they're like,
what?
oh, interesting. Like, all right, cute. Good for you. A
Cool.
little pat on the
Awesome.
head. So I'm usually like, just let me show you a picture. I swear it's not as dumb as it sounds.
I swear it looks
But
really, really cool. Yeah.
I swear it looks good. But yeah, I've been doing that for 6 years, and I also make antler jewelry as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I really truly love it. It's I've always been artistic. I used to draw. Actually, this drawing behind me is one I did in 2015 or something.
Nice.
But I could never like find my thing because I'd finish a drawing and I'd be like, oh, all right, like I'm good for a while. And then I'd want to draw. Like I just needed to create something,
Hmm.
and I didn't find what that was until I started beading my skulls. And so it's very fulfilling to me. And I
And
really enjoy getting to meet and connect with other like outdoorsmen through my work.
right. And how did that all start? The idea for that?
It was honestly the most random thing. I was house sitting for my parents, and they were gone hiking the PCT. So they were hiking from the border of Mexico all the way up through California, Oregon, and Washington to the Canadian border. So they're gone for like 6 months.
Oh yeah.
And my parents' house is the house I grew up in. So it's like nothing new. Like
Hmm.
pretty much everything in it is like the same as when I was a child. And I was just cleaning up one day, putting everything away, and there are some bookcases that are in this corner of the house. That on top of the bookcases, there's a couple bear skulls, a javelina skull, a bunch of coyote skulls, a couple badger skulls, and then above that on the wall, there's these mounted wall bracket like whitetail euros. So when you look up, you just see like a bunch of skulls all
Hmm.
together. And I don't know why one day I just stopped and I was looking at them. I've seen them 1.5 million times. I was looking at them and I was thinking, would be really cool to do something to them to make them stand out more individually.
Hmm.
Because right now you just look up there and it just looks like a bunch of skulls. Like you can't really appreciate any individual one because they're just so cluttered. So I was thinking to myself, well, I can't paint worth a crap, like awful. And I was like, well, what else could I do? And I thought, you know, maybe like really, really small beads, I could make like a design with those. And it's like, yeah, yeah. And so I messaged my dad on his InReach and I was like, hey, dad, can I bead one of your coyote skulls? Like a child. And he was like, yeah, sure, go for it. So that night, I drove into the next town and went to Michael's and
Hmm.
just bought this random case of assorted seed bead colors and just some random glue. Went home, kind of drew on a little design, and then just was like, oh, okay, now what? I still have that skull and it looks like ass. It's
like
awful.
a
Looks like a spider
reminder.
web. Yeah, it looks like a
This is
spider
where you
shit on
started.
it. And then collected a bunch of beads. But you can see in that skull where I started, and it's just like, what the hell? And kind of like where I like halfway through, I kind of figured out how to lay the beads where they were
Okay.
making some sort of organized pattern. And when I finished that skull after like 3 nights or something, I was like, oh yeah, like all right, this like it doesn't look great, but this is cool. Like, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted on my Facebook and shared it. And I was like, hey, if any of you like because Facebook was like all the people in my town, like people who knew me in real life.
Right.
Like, hey, if anybody has like any skulls that they like would consider having something done with it, like let me practice, I'll do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my best friend's husbands had a bunch of just like kind of like a couple deadheads, some that like kind of broken. He's like, here, you can like practice on these if you want. It's like, oh, great. So I did like 6 of those, posted them, and I kind of got my hands on some other stuff. And then 4 months later, maybe 5 months later, a guy on Facebook messaged me and he was like, hey, if I paid you, would you bead my bull elk? And I was like, you would pay me? Yeah. Like, oh,
I can make
heck
money
yeah.
from this. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
Let's
would pay
go.
me to do this? Heck yeah. So I did his. It was like a partial beating where I didn't do the entire skull. I did like
Okay.
2/3 of it. And then I did an antler restoration. And I'm actually wearing this necklace. It has a little gold nugget on it. And this was a tip that he gave me because he did gold mining up in Nome, Alaska, like under the ice, like the scuba diving stuff.
Oh,
So I had it made a necklace to like represent my first
that's
commission
awesome.
and the start of my business that I truly love.
That's
But yeah,
amazing.
and then it just went on from there. And it was a slow ball. It rolled. I would get like a customer once every couple months. Then it went to one every month, and then one to like a couple every month. And 6 years later, I have 22 skulls in my office right now from customers. And right now I have like 200 messages to read
Oh
that I'm
my god.
behind on. So
Wow. It's
it's,
blowing up. That's amazing.
yeah, an absolute blessing. I really do have a lot of amazing people who support my work and love my work, and I only get better with each piece I finish. So, yeah,
So are the beads in strips that you cut to different lengths, or are they literally one at a time?
they're literally one at a time. Like they're all loose. Like I don't
Oh,
string them or anything. I always get people who watch my reel and they're like, "Would be easier if you put them on line or fishing line." I'm like, you say that, and trust me, that was one of
yeah.
my first thoughts 6 years ago, and I did it, and all my shit fell all over the floor, and I didn't like it. Maybe if you practiced, you could get good at it, and you could do it, but just not doesn't work out like you think. But
Yeah.
yeah, most of the time it's one single bead at a time. Sometimes I can do like a few at a time, but yeah, it is very meticulous. They're all loose, and
Wow.
they're just glued on with a really strong adhesive.
Mm.
Everyone always asks, like, are they going to fall off over time? I'm like, no, trust me. I've had a few in the past where I was like, I think I want to change that. And I'm there with a flathead screwdriver, just like raking them off. Like, they're on there. I can confirm.
Yeah, I believe it. Good. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Have you had anybody try to copy your work?
Oh,
Because I know
yeah.
that can happen from time to time with artistic.
Yeah. Yep. I have. So I will say there is a big difference between somebody being inspired by someone's work and then someone who is just straight up copying.
Yeah.
There are quite a few girls who have messaged me and like said, hey, like I your work really inspired me to like create my own thing, and I just want to share with you what I did. And they send me a picture of their beaded skull and it looks like something that they created. And I'm like, that's really awesome. Like I love it. Like keep in touch with me. And I love seeing other people's work. I do follow
Mhm.
other skull artists that do completely different stuff, but I enjoy seeing that because that's like true art. If it's coming from them, you can be inspired and create your own thing. But there are a few that I've seen. I think I can think of like 5 off the top of my head over the last few years of gals who have like, if you put a picture of my skull next to a picture of their skull, you can literally see them trying to imitate like my design
Mm.
and like my concept. And I'm like, I'm gonna be
No.
honest, it's not flattering. Everyone's
No.
like,
Oh.
oh, image or copying or whatever is a form of flattery. And I'm like, no, it's a
Not
form
all
of
the time.
stealing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't appreciate that because that's not coming from a place of a creative heart or creative mind. That's just seeing somebody have success with something and then
Mhm.
just trying to copy that success so they can hijack it in a way. Like,
Right.
I just don't like that. And when I say stuff like that on my social media, I do get people who are like, oh, you're gatekeeping, or people like you a lot more if you would just help them, or like just tell them how to do it. And I'm like, no. Would you go to your local bakery, order a cinnamon roll, eat that cinnamon roll, and be like, oh my gosh, this is the best cinnamon roll I have ever had. And then walk up to the baker, be like, excuse me, like, this was amazing. Best one ever. Could you give me a recipe so I can make this at home and sell it to my friends and family? Because, like, I just love this so much. No, you would
don't come
not.
back.
Yeah. Maybe you'd eat that cinnamon roll and be like, this is awesome. I want to make my own with its twist on it. Go home, trial and error experiment, make your own special cinnamon roll with your signature thing.
Right.
Because you had an amazing cinnamon roll and you knew it did for you, but you wouldn't go up and ask them to tell you, because they don't owe you anything to give you what they've earned through their trial and error. But yeah, it's just funny. A lot of people do, though, I will say. I don't think they just realize how rude it is. Right. But then there are some that do. So I just don't usually answer people when they ask me like how they can do it themselves. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't like that very much. You can tell.
Just Google it or go onto YouTube. I'm sure someone's got a video on there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. They look fantastic. They look incredible. Your work.
Oh, thank you.
So I'll have to, if I get something this year, I'll send it to you. You can design it for me.
Oh, thanks.
So you are one of the best at catching fish that I have ever seen in my life. Some of those fish are absolutely enormous. Are you traveling for fishing, or is that all near where you live, or?
A little bit of both, like a couple hours. So it's kind of funny because depending on who you talk to, their idea of traveling could be very different. Like I'll drive 3 hours one way for a day experience, like a day trip. But some people will only stay within like an hour or something, or so many miles. But yeah, it's kind of all over my state and then the next state and stuff. So yeah, very lucky to be close to a lot of opportunities.
And you've done spear fishing. Do you have a favorite type
of fishing?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Like, I love it all because I feel the same way about hunting. I get asked sometimes like what my favorite animal is to hunt, like what my favorite weapon is to use, or what my favorite outdoor activity is, whether it's hunting, fishing, or trapping. Hunting is my favorite, but I just love it all. Like I love it all so much because you get different experiences and rewards out of every different either fisher, like catching, your technique, the equipment, the river, all like there's so many factors that play into it. And the same with like the hunting and trapping. It's each animal, each species is so different that I enjoy all of it. Like literally all of it.
And you went to Alaska. Did you go to Alaska recently? Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. That was really cool. The fishing up there is very different than any I've done down here. The numbers of fish is hard to wrap your mind around. I think we were there for 9 days, and the most fish that came through on one of the days we were there was like 280,000 fish in one day pushed through. And I was like, oh, like I'm trying to wrap my oh my gosh, yeah. Trying to wrap your brain around that number is unreal. And there had already been a lot of fish coming through. And like in the grand scheme of like a whole season, it's millions, like crazy. Wow. So yeah. Yeah.
I remember seeing a picture of, I think it was you and Sarah Gamache together fishing, and someone said they thought it was AI.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is AI. You can tell because our pants aren't wet. And I was like, what the hell? You know what? Thank you. I'm kind of like oddly flattered. Yeah, I was like,
you should get out behind your keyboard and try it yourself, right?
oh yeah, it was just freaking hilarious. Yeah, that was when she came up steelhead fishing with me, and yeah, I was like, oh well, hey Sarah, we are perfect because we're freaking AI.
That's right.
Oh man, yeah, that was a funny one. But yeah, steelhead season this year was pretty epic. I think that was the best season I've ever had.
Oh yeah.
One day I hooked about 100, and I think I landed like 30. It was like 34 or
Wow.
something. Yeah, that's like unreal at fishing. It was really, really good. So much fun.
That's
But yeah,
amazing.
I go every seal season. I go on the fishing diet where you don't eat, drink, go to
Oh
the bathroom for 12 hours straight. And
yeah.
then you're like, man, I feel like shit. Oh, I guess I haven't eaten or moved in a
Yeah.
while. Oh.
Yeah. We got a lot of smallmouth bass up around our cottage, and there's like this perfect time of the evening where if you're in the right spot at the right time, right off the dock, you can catch some pretty decent sized ones. And remember my son caught one and got it, and he was so excited. It was so big. And then as he's getting it up out of the water to get a good look at it, it comes off the hook and goes right down in between where the two docks meet.
Oh
Like,
no.
no,
Dang it.
no. Yeah. So,
Oh, that's pretty cool though. I love
yeah.
smallmouth fishing. Like we have a ton in the river here. So much so that they opened it for spearfishing
Oh, wow.
because yeah, because it's the regs have always been for years and years that there's no limit, there's no size requirement. You could just literally go catch as much as you want
Hmm.
because there's so many smallmouth in the river, and they eat the smolt, like the baby steelhead and the baby salmon, when the
Yeah.
hatchery releases them way up the river. So they want you to go try to get them out. And there are some, I will say, that was a really special thing about spearfishing for them this summer is I got to see how many big smallmouth are actually in the river. I see them sometimes when I'm kayak fishing and floating by. You can see them swim by here and there. But when you get in the water, it's like there's some tanks in there. My son shot a monster, and I bet we were freaking out. Pretty sure. And it was 18 and a half inches, and
Whoa.
it was probably close to 4 pounds. It was huge for the river too,
Yeah.
because they get long, but they don't get really fat here in the
Right.
river. They
Right.
stay leaner. But yeah, it's it was really fun swimming for them, and they're not dumb. They're very smart, but they're
Yeah.
curious.
Right.
So they'll kind of just like swim and look at you and like come pretty close. So if you just hover like a stick on top of the surface,
Yeah.
they'll come check you out. Ironically, the sucker fish are super spooky, so they're kind of hard to get.
Oh, okay.
And they're always in the rocks, so if you miss, you just
You've just,
nailed a boulder.
and did you start trapping? When did the trapping come into play for you?
So I started trapping, got my trapping license. I'm trying to think, it was 4 years ago. Because when I met my husband, he was trapping, and I thought that was so cool. Because, like I said, Jeremiah Johnson was my favorite movie of all time. Even though that's not like a crazy huge focus in the movie, that is a big part of like the whole mountain man history. And I always was very interested in that growing up. And even now, it's very fascinating to me the fact that they would survive in the harshest mountain conditions through the winter. Like, that's unreal to me still. But when we met and he's like, "I trapped," I was like, "Oh, I have always wanted to learn." Like, it's always been a huge interest for me. Again, when I grew up, I was just not, I didn't know anyone who trapped.
Mhm.
Also, in Eastern Washington, they have very, very, very strict trapping rules. So it's like no one around did that.
Do you have to be an
Um,
apprentice first?
no, no. So
No. Okay.
you guys in Canada, you have to go through like an
Yeah.
apprenticeship, right?
Everything's
So
hard.
yeah, I have another girlfriend, Chelsea Hansler, who her husband's a trapper, and she wants to get into it, but it's a whole ordeal for you guys up there. For us, we
Mhm.
just have to take a class. a 1-day class. So very nice. Convenient. Very convenient. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
But it's, so you go in, it's kind of, it's like, yeah, if you're going for a day, the trapping instructor is a licensed trapper and goes over all the rules, the regs. And then you take just a short test at the end and you get your trapping license. And I did that, like I said, 5 years ago, I believe. Tagged along with my husband a little bit that first year we met, and when he was trapping for beavers and otter, and I just thought it was super cool. But I will admit, the first year I got my trapping license, I wanted to trap an otter. Like, they're so fascinating and they're huge.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing I did not know until I met my husband. He had trapped an otter. I didn't see it in the trap, but he's like, "Oh, I got an otter today. You want to see it?" I was like, "Oh yeah." Huge, like giant. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I was like, I didn't think they were that big. I thought they were just like, I don't know, like 2 feet long. No, they're like 4 feet long from like head to nose, like a big male. And but my my husband, when he took me out to learn how like a 330 conibear works, the body gripping trap, which is what we use for beaver and otters. We'll use some of the smaller ones, but they're always body gripping traps. And he's like, all right, like you do this, you do that. And I'm kind of setting it. He's like, don't do that. I'm like, what? He's like, you almost broke your arm or your hand. And I was like, why? And he's like, you just don't put your hand there. And I was so freaked out to break my freaking hand or my arm in this trap. Because he didn't, I love my husband, but at the time he didn't really explain like the mechanics of how it works. He was just like, don't do that. And I'm like, what?
You touch that.
And yeah, just like it kind of scared me to where the first year I trapped, I didn't even trap for beaver and otter. I just did raccoon trapping, and which is good for here because we also are big like upland bird hunters and waterfowl hunters, and the raccoons are really, really hard on like raiding the nests of turkeys and pheasants and quail and all this stuff that's around here that we want more of. So I just did some predator management on that side of things, caught a bunch. And the next year I was out fishing for smallmouth, and I'm walking on these huge big boulders on the side of the river. And where I live too, it's not like the classic beaver hut scenario. Like there are none of those where I am. They live in these like tight little holes under the big like bouldery rocks on the edges of the river. So you have to literally walk every inch of the river to go find a den.
Okay.
And I was just moving on the rocks, and all of a sudden I heard like a splash from underneath me because there was some water under the rocks below me. And it scared the crap out of me. And a beaver swam out, and I was like, oh, I think this is a beaver den. And so I climbed down there, and sure enough, there was this really cool like cave thing that went up under the rocks, and they were denning in there. And I was like, oh, I found a den that Jace doesn't know about, because he had offered for like my husband had lived where we live now for 4 years before I met him. So he'd already been everywhere.
Right.
And he was like, well, if you want to trap a beaver, you can go here. And I'm like, I don't want your spots.
Yeah,
like, you don't need to like give me your spots. I want to trap my own spots. And so when I saw that one, I was like, oh, I've got a spot that's mine. I found it. And so I asked him if he would come help me, show me how to set the trap again. And we brought a couple down there. He set one and I watched, and then I set one and I put it out. And like 2 days later, we came back and I caught one in the one I set.
Oh, nice.
And I was so pumped. I was so freaking jacked. And yeah, from then on, I then obviously learned how the mechanics of the trap worked, and I wasn't scared to use them anymore. Always very, very cautious and respect the body gripping ones because they can break your hand or your arm very easily. But I like using them because the body gripping traps for the water, like fur bearers, because they're quick and efficient. If I catch a beaver and otter, they die instantly. Right. And that's what I want. It's the most humane way to trap them.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So since then, I've trapped otters, beaver, mink. I tried really hard last year to catch my first marten. Didn't work out. just not in the right area, and I didn't really know what I was looking for when it came to a marten area. Tried really hard for wolves, but last winter was crappy because it was so warm. Everything was not where it should have been for the right trapping conditions. I did catch a fox last year, which was really cool. But yeah, and then my son Weston, the one who's like loves everything, he trapped with me 2 years ago pretty hard. He got 2 otters, which was awesome. And then I cut him off because I'm like, all right, like we're done.
No, all
Because
right.
yeah, I'll settle down. But I honestly wish he could trap more. It's just tough because where I live, you have to check your traps every 72 hours.
Okay.
Technically, I always have his tag and my tag on all my traps.
Right.
So we can legally check each other's traps. So he could go set a trap out and I could check them for him, but I don't want to do that. Like I want him to be able to run his own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super hard with a 12-year-old
yeah.
who is in school. Like if I go in the middle of the day on a Wednesday, like he can't come with me and go check them. And if you get an otter, you have to take it and check it in within 72 hours into a local fish and game office. And the closest one to me is an hour and a half away. So, and I have, yeah. So when he got his 2 that one year, I had to pull him out of school 2 different days for him to go in and check his otter and then drive 3-hour round trip. So 6 hours of driving just to go check his otters in.
Well,
which
you're not feeling well today. Get in the car.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So like he trapped his first beaver last year, which was nice because it was close to home. So I picked him up at lunch and we went and checked his trap and he had a beaver and he brought it back to the school and showed his teachers. He's like,
wow, yeah.
Look.
Look what I did.
Yeah. So when he gets older, a little bit older and he's got more wiggle room, he'll be able to get into it more. But the water trapping's fun because you can bring your kids on that easily. Because you're not worried about like spreading scent, contamination. Them being loud doesn't matter. Yeah, it's very, very kid friendly. The land trapping for like canines, no, that's not friendly. Like it's like, don't touch that. Be quiet. like don't. Everything has to be perfect with that. But yeah. So it's a good way to get the kids out.
So you can pick where your trap line's going to be. You don't have to.
Yes. So that's actually something I do know from Chelsea talking with her about the difference. I can go anywhere on public land and private if I have permission.
Right.
So yeah, I don't have to like designate my own line or anything. I just go like, oh, I kind of want to check out this.
Stick a flag in the ground and lay claim to it. No.
Yeah, no. Very, very fortunate. I don't have to do that. I can go anywhere on public land. Like I said, and on private with permission. And there are different regulations if you're trapping on private versus if you're trapping on public. There's more freedom on private land. Like on just one of the main things is on public land, you can't trap on or near a maintained road or trail.
Okay.
So you have to be, I think, 10 feet off any maintained road or trail, which I know doesn't sound far or bad, but if you're trying to trap wolves, that you might as well just put it like 200 yards away.
Yeah.
Trying to pull them off, even just a few feet, it's very difficult. So if you're on private property, you can trap right on a road. If there's a 4-wheel road going through the back of the property or through wherever, you put it right on the road, and that's like money. So there's more freedom on private versus public.
Yeah, I remember hearing Rachel Attila from up north in Canada. She just got a couple of years ago, I think, got her trapping license and was going through the process of getting her restricted firearms license because we can't carry handguns with us when we're in the woods, which is
that sucks.
Doesn't make any sense to me why you can carry a rifle that's way more powerful and you can't, if they wanted to restrict it to the point where, okay, you can only uncase it at your car when you're going in and then you got to lock it up when you're transporting it home, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we should be able to have something like, even for me, I hunt with a bow all the time. When I started hunting bears, I brought a compact 30-30 with me. It was really small. Look, it was for a kid. Like, it's really small, but it
Yeah.
was easy enough to pack around. I still look silly because I've got a gun on my shoulder and I'm holding a bow, and I'm like, am I doing this more for my peace of mind? Because there's no way I'm going to get that thing ready to go if something's charging me anyway. But yeah,
Yeah.
the fact that we can't do that is
It's
bothers
wild.
a great number of us. But yeah, we're kind of at a disadvantage up here for that, for sure.
Yeah, because you have a lot of grizzlies where you are too, right?
So not in Ontario where I am, but they are out in BC and Alberta, but huge. Yeah, because they stopped being able to hunt them out there. So they're just multiplying like
Yeah,
crazy.
I've heard a lot. I'm like not sure very well, but it's definitely BC. But like when they cut off the grizzly hunting, they don't allow it anymore.
Mhm,
That they're like, I even some of the black bears I heard are like aggressive,
mhm.
very like agitated all the time, and they're like more dangerous than ever right now too. And then you can't carry. Like that's terrible. That's honestly
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, I got some bear spray. Is it going to work? Maybe. Maybe not.
Oh gosh, it better than nothing. But with you packing that little 30-30, like I would too, without hesitation, because
Mhm.
yeah, if you have it on your shoulder and something runs at you, like man, even if you had a pistol, getting it out fast enough, it would be a miracle. But I mean, I would at least just want to have it because you might be able to grab it and like shoot them or something. But
Mhm.
only having a bow, like rip your arrow out of your freaking quiver and stab it in the neck, like
Yeah,
you're not going to draw your bow fast enough to shoot something in self-defense.
right. Just want to take a quick break to talk to you about a couple of things that I've been using that I think might benefit you. One is this Numa Outdoors gear. This is in their Kaza OV pattern, which is great whitetail pattern when you're up in a tree in the fall and late season. They also have a Kaza pattern which has more green in it, which is good for spring through to the fall. Numa has given me a code to give to you of Caribou Media 20, which will save you 20% at checkout. Another product here that I've been using for years now is the Bulldog targets. This is a Canadian made target. They're made in Manitoba. They have a lifetime warranty. I've used that warranty twice now on a couple of my larger targets that are outside. It's very simple, very easy. These targets are 2-finger removal every single time, which is incredible. Field point only target. Bulldog's been gracious enough to give me a 20% discount code to give to you at checkout. Use code BD20-Caribou-Media. That'll save you 20% on these awesome targets. Now back to the show. I did have one time where I was in a ground blind and there was a few bears, black bears, around me, and one of their noses pushed into the side of the
Like a
blind. I'm
scary
like,
movie.
what the? And I had the 30-30 with me. I'm like, that was the moment where I was like, see, this is why you carry this with you.
Yeah.
I didn't end up needing to use it, but it was like it was a moment I'll never forget for sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is literally like a scary movie moment where the face pushes on the side of your head.
And
Like,
you guys have a lot of wolves out there?
yeah, we do have quite a few wolves. All
Mhm.
all through Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, into Oregon, into Washington now, and all the way into California. Like they're spreading
Yeah,
like a parasite.
yeah,
And a lot of people hear that and take that super offensive, like, oh, they're not a parasite. I'm like, no, they're not a parasite, but they multiply at 40% every year.
yeah.
They are incredibly destructive when they are overpopulated, and that's what they are right now. So, yeah, you don't see them very often. They're just kind of one of those animals that, like, it's no different than like you don't see mountain lions very often, but you can be in an area where they're overpopulated and they're freaking everywhere, but you may not ever see one. I've seen a couple. I I saw one at 43 yards when I was bear hunting a couple of years ago, and it sticks with my soul
Mm,
because I should have shot it. Like I should have, because, and I say that because I told my husband the night before that I was like, I'm gonna stop at Dale's on my way out to go bear hunting because I was going early spring bear hunting in a unit that had like opens early, opens April 1st, and most of the other units open April 15th. And I was like, I'm just gonna drive out there. I was like, I'm gonna stop at Dale's and grab a wolf tag because if I don't have one, I'm gonna
yeah,
see one.
right.
And my husband's like, oh, you're not gonna see one. I'm like, I know I'm not gonna freaking see one, but I just want to have it.
Now that
Well,
I
I
said it, I'll probably
left.
see one.
Oh yeah. And I left that morning. I was running a little late and I had a 2-hour drive ahead of me. And then I had to be back in time for my kids to get out of school. So I was like, I had just this little window
Window,
to
yeah, in
try and
there,
make
yeah,
something happen.
yeah.
And I was driving up on Dale's and I'm coming up on it. I'm like, ah, dang it. Like I'm already late. And I always end up getting stuck to those guys in there because like I love them all. Like they're great. We always just shoot the shit. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna keep going because like I'm not gonna see a wolf anyways. Well, I get all the way out there, park, get my gear, and I had my dog Kimber with me. And we just start walking down the trail, and there was a bunch of wolf sign on the trail, which I had a buddy who was in the weekend before, and he said he saw a bunch of wolf sign, old and new. So I just thought nothing of it. Like that's pretty
Mhm.
common.
Right.
And I was 17 minutes into the hike, and this hike I was doing is down in the bottom of this canyon. The trail is really tight to the creek, and the creek is flowing past me. I'm walking up, so my wind is good, and you can only see about at times 60 yards, and it's just very thick in there. Well, we're walking, and I see just something jump out of the creek and onto the trail, and my instant millisecond thought was it was a deer because it was big. And then the second millisecond, I was like, oh shit, that's a wolf. And I threw up my rifle and I was looking at it in my scope at 43 yards, and it stopped and it was looking back at me. And I was like, I don't have a tag. I was like, oh. And then it just took 2 like bounds and was
Yep,
gone. And I was like,
yep.
oh God, I am never going to have that happen again. I just like wanted to puke.
What a
I was like,
moment. That's
oh.
amazing.
Oh, so I turned around, hiked all the way back out, took my dog home, went and bought a tag, and drove all the way back out there. I was like, I know I'm
Let's
not
go
gonna
again,
find
round
it.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, come on, please. Can I have 2 lottery moments in one day?
That's right.
No, didn't see or hear anything, but I just like had to go back out for myself. And
Yeah.
yeah, oh man. And it was like this very like creamy white. It was such a
Mm.
pretty wolf. Yeah, I'll never forget looking in the scope at it, looking at me at 43 yards. And
Wow.
it's probably the craziest experience I've had while I've been out hunting. So, and I'm just praying for another opportunity.
Yeah, I had Kate on here, we were talking about wolves, and, she just recently put up a video about, the difference in size between coyotes and wolves, and it's like, if you are ever on the
Yeah.
fence, you see that video, there's no mistaking the 2 of
Yeah.
them.
Oh
The
yeah,
size
it's a
difference
day and
is
night difference.
oh my god, just enormous, enormous animals, and they get big so fast too.
Oh yeah.
It's incredible.
They get huge. Yeah, I've seen man, it was probably like 8 years ago. Man, no. It was 9 years ago because my youngest was just a baby. And we were riding around not far from where I live now, up in the mountains, actually in the same area I shot my first deer in when I was 17. And it got overrun with the wolves up there really, really bad. And this one winter we went up and we didn't see a single deer track or elk track, but everywhere we went were wolf tracks everywhere up there. And
Wow.
we went back that spring and we were coming down this road and come around the bend and there's 2 wolf pups in the road. And I was like, holy crap. I was like weird looking coyotes because their legs are so like thick. It's like a puppy of a large breed. You know how their legs are like tree trunks, but they're like small bodied.
Yep.
And I was like, I was like, oh no, those are 2 wolves. And they jumped off the road and went in this big culvert right under the road. And we had stopped, and I was like, I kind of wanted to go peek in there, but I was like, I kind of don't want to do it. I'm kind of a little chicken shit. But I was like, man, they must have like had a den not far, or maybe they were moving. And I do actually hear that quite often from like houndsmen and
Mhm.
other trappers that like wolves will use culverts to hide their puppies in when they're moving, or they
Oh,
even will
interesting.
den in there sometimes, depending, like how far in the woods they are,
Right.
whatever. But that was pretty crazy. They definitely, without a doubt, maybe a split second, you might be like, what is that? And you can't even mistake them even when they're smaller. You just can tell.
Hmm. Yeah, they're incredible, but they do
Yeah.
multiply, like you're saying, 40%. Like that's insane.
Yeah, 40% every year, and they just cause a lot of damage. Like where I live used to be the largest elk herd in the lower 48. It was the Lolo herd, and
Okay.
there used to be an estimated 22 to 24,000 head of elk. Since they've reintroduced the wolves, there are
Holy.
now an estimated 1,200 elk here. And I think that's being generous.
Wow.
Yeah,
So is it
it's
hard? Is it hard getting tags?
no, not really. So they did just change some of the units around me to capped units.
Okay.
So they do have like a cap on them where you can go buy it over the counter, but there's only so many.
Right.
So like we all get tags for right around here, but it's very tough. It's really tough. It's kind of sad because a lot of times I spend all year outside, like out in the outdoors doing all kinds of stuff. And it's like, elk are herd animals. Like you should see them in groups. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a lone cow just
Just
wandering
running.
around all by herself. It's just a very like sad sight
Yeah.
to see because they're not supposed to be just on their own like that a lot. And they are more than not where I live.
Hmm.
Like that's when I went down and hunted Kate. I was like, oh my gosh, there's elk everywhere. Like I'm like, we smell them, we see them, we're hearing them. And I was like, I didn't get one. I almost got
Yeah.
one
How was that?
twice.
You look like a crazy trip you guys had with the weather and everything else.
Oh, yeah. It was, yeah, the weather did screw us like probably half the time because
Okay.
like just these storms would come in and
Yeah.
just mess a lot of stuff up. But it was really fun. And when I went on this hunt, I went down without like with low to no expectations. I just
Right.
wanted to go hunt with my best friend and see new country. And if I came out with a bull, that would be like the cherry on top of the hunt.
Right.
And it was as much as I could have asked for without getting an elk. Like I could have probably should have shot one, could have got one the first 2 hours that we got there, 6 point. But I'm an idiot. Didn't get it.
It's the
Oh
whole
man.
experience, right? We love the whole experience, and sometimes we take people don't understand. They think that we're only there to kill things, and it's the whole picture. It's the preparing for it. It's getting yourself ready, whether that's working out or not, or whatever you do. Putting cameras out if you do that or not. Like it's the whole start to finish. It's everything that we love about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so much more than when you kill the animal. You're out there because you're trying to go get that animal,
Right.
but there's just so much more to take. There's so much more to take from it.
Hmm.
And I do really feel bad for the people who go out and if they don't either get an animal or they don't get like a big animal, they're not happy. Like,
It's unsuccessful. Yeah.
yeah, if they're unsuccessful in any ways, like they they're not happy, they're miserable, they didn't take anything away. And I'm like, there's so much more to learn while you're out there and like just take in. And just the fact anybody gets to go out and like go into the mountains on public land or whatever, private even, like it's such a like blessing and a privilege just to get to go
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
reconnect with that primal thing that we all need that most of us don't get.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it was a
even better.
great time.
It's even better if you're outside a cell phone service, because then you can't, even if you wanted to, you can't touch your phone.
Yeah, yeah,
And then you really get rooted back into you know the whole experience and why you're out there in the first place, for sure.
yeah. This is kind of like an off topic thing, but I saw a really interesting reel, like literally just last night, I think, where this guy was talking about how he'd gone to prison for a couple of years because he did like aggravated assault or something. He was like drunk in a bar and he pulled his pistol out to some people who were pissing him off and just like threatened them. But he
Yeah.
went to prison and he was talking about how when he went to prison, he like journaled the whole time he was there. And he said he talked about how there's not a lot of situations in life now, modern world, where you go and you're put to where you have no distractions. You're not being pulled. You're not just being distracted by your phone, by your TV, by the radio, by your life's obligations, by work. You not having all that, and you just can like sit and reflect and be
Yeah.
in your own mind. And he talked about how important it is to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and he talked about how people who spend time outdoors are more likely to get that kind of time and reflection. And that when he went to prison, that forced him to do it. And he grew a lot from that. But it was interesting because, I mean, I talk about how sometimes how when I go out, I just sit and I just like, I'll take time every time I go out, just sit for like 5 minutes and just take in the stillness and like nothing going on and just think with myself. And we all kind of get that a lot. Like, anyway, say if you're sitting at your bear bait and you don't have cell service and you're just sitting there without any distraction other than like the stillness of the woods. And it's so healthy for us all as people to go do, whether you're not, you could just be hiking and going sitting somewhere. But I just thought that was a very interesting take on like outdoorsmen and our like mental health versus people who don't get outdoors.
Just you in your mind.
Yeah, it can be rough. Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
I sat for 11 hours on a wallow with Kate, and I was like, I'm now realizing I should be left alone for 11 hours. And my mental illness is really seeping out.
I got to solve some of my own problems out here for a few minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love is that like when you go into, say, like if you're tree stand hunting for deer and you get in there super early in the morning and you get up and you get everything set. Like for me, I bring cameras with me all the time. So I get the camera set up. I got my bow on the hanger. And that moment when you're ready to go, but it's not time yet. And like you just sit there or you stand or whatever you're doing. And you kind of, whatever disturbance you just made on your way in, because everything knows you're in there at this point, the reset time where everything kind of goes back to the way it was before you got there, and then you get to see the sun starts to come up, and it's like, I don't know, that just does it for me every time. You just feel like you're a part of it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I always say it's real life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've had some experience with the initial ascent backpacks?
Yeah.
You like?
I love it. I bought one, would have been a little over a year ago. It wasn't this spring, it was the spring before. Just because anyone who's followed me for over that time would have seen me packing out this smaller bear hole on my back on my Kuiu pack. And I was cussing like no one's business because it was such a piece of shit backpack. I was like losing it. I was also hiking like steep, like super steep out, like crawling and gripping the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
But like I was so sick of that backpack. And granted too, when I bought that Kuiu pack, it was before they came out with the women's frame.
Right.
And I'm 5'1". So like it was huge on me.
Right.
And that backpack, I just freaking hated it. I was ready to like burn it or throw it off the mountain or something. And Kate had the initial ascent pack, and she's small like I am. So I was like, oh, well, if she likes it and it fits her, like I'll get that. So I bought it and it's been great. I really do love it. Fits me well. It carries a lot of weight well. And I've used it for everything for the last year and a half now.
Yeah, I've got I went on a bit of a backpack. I've got Mystery Ranch stuff back there under me right now. I've got a couple of Kafaru bags, and then I just picked up the IA 5K a few months ago from Initial Ascent, and
oh, nice.
That thing is unreal. Like I film a lot of YouTube videos, and I wanted to put it to the test. I'm watching people walk around with 150 pounds on their back, standing straight up at the Western Hunt Expo, and I'm like, I gotta try this out. So
yeah,
I had sandbags that I put into game bags, and I hooked them on everywhere, and I started walking around. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I'm walking around in Crocs, not even feeling,
Yeah.
it felt like it was almost half the weight. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. They're really, really nice. And I like when I went on my hunt with Kate, I got the 5K too. And so we went on this hunt. I was able to pack all my gear into that. And also on the spring bear hunt, I went with her this last spring where we were out for 4 days. Everything fit in there. But when I'm not like packing in, I'll take the bag off and
Yep.
I'll just have the meat shelf on it. Like if I'm going out for an evening or a morning, and it's
Sure.
so convenient to be able to take the pack, like the bag off of the frame and then
Mhm.
still have that meat shelf. So if you get something, you can load it all in there really well. And I actually just got a Black's Creek pack.
Okay.
Yeah, Black's Creek pack. It's very similar with how the Initial Ascent pack is made. There's just a few things that are a little different. And it's a smaller bag. I think it's a 3K or something.
Okay.
But I got that because I wanted to also have, like, I've got the Initial Ascent pack and I've got that one, and they're both smaller frames. And I wanted it so that since my kids are hunting and they're obviously not bigger than me yet, won't take much more to be taller than I am. But like my kids need to have a pack now too.
Right.
So, and we have a really good buddy who runs that pack and he's a guide and he loves it. So I'll be curious to see the comparison between the two because they are kind of similar with how they're
Mhm.
designed.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there one piece of gear that you always find that you take with you every time you go out
Oh man.
that you can't leave
I have
home
the
without?
standard for what I take every single time. So if I were to get dressed to go do anything ever, always,
Yeah.
like I wear my Kuiu attack pants all year round for everything. The only time I don't wear those is if I'm going to do a call, like I'm going to go call for coyotes or attempt to go call for mountain lions, which I've done like 30 times and never seen anything.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to go sit in the snow for like 2 hours, but if I'm doing 3 stands, I'm doing 1 hour stands. I'm going to go sit in the snow, not moving for an hour at a time. I'll wear like my wool stuff. But I use my Kuiu pants, attack pants, all year long. I'll just layer underneath it if it's a little cold. I have my crispy hunting boots. They're
Mhm.
insulated. Even I wear them in the summertime, but I don't struggle with like sweaty feet or anything, so it's fine for me personally.
Mhm.
And then I have my marsupial bino harness. I always have my binos on me. And I always pack. Very privileged here. Living in Idaho, I get to carry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry, Josh. But I have my Invader Concepts holster. I carry a chest rig.
Yeah.
So I always have my 40 Smith & Wesson MMP shield on me. When I'm bear baiting, I'll carry my 357 Taurus tracker because I
Mhm.
want a revolver because it's most likely I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm going to be walking up and there could be a bear at 60 yards. And if it's a sow with cubs or like a young bear, whatever the situation may be, and it's pissed and it decides to charge me, I just feel better about having a revolver
Yeah.
in that situation versus my automatic 40 or semi-auto 40 on my chest. It's small, petite, light. I can carry it under my bino harness, but I always pack. I always have my bino harness. I'm always wearing the same pair of boots, and I'm always wearing the same pair of pants. Those are the 4 pieces of gear that I have on every time I go out, no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah, that I was going to mention that harness, that thing that you have looks amazing. If I ever had the opportunity, which we never will up here, that's what I would buy. I'd put it right underneath my bino harness, just like
Mm-hmm.
that. Be perfect. But
Yeah, it's really nice, and I've talked about it on my page that I'm in the outdoors 95% of the time, and then I'm in around humans 5% of the time. I'm going to the grocery store or whatever.
yeah.
But in Idaho, like where I live, it's very, very common to open carry. You see people carrying with a pistol on their hip in the
Yep.
grocery store, in the mall. Like that's just how I grew up. It's very common. It's not a weird sight.
Mhm.
And I just open carry on my chest everywhere I go. So that's my one size fits all. I practice my like at the range drawing for my pistol right here, and
That's
so it's
good.
just
Yep.
my preference always.
Yeah.
Like if a mountain lion jumps on my back, I have it right here, and I could just shoot like that, blow my eardrum out.
Yeah, that muscle memory is definitely something you want to. Everybody who's in using firearms needs to get used to where it is every time, so you don't even have to think about it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
The Wild Women's Rendezvous, is that a yearly thing, or was that just a one-time thing you did?
It was a one-time thing that I did as an
Okay.
instructor. It's a yearly thing. Tana Grenda hosts that. But
Okay.
she's the one who puts that together. And she's had a couple gals come back and be the instructors again. But she is just like getting new instructors, mostly new instructors every year, just to get more information and like fresh eyes, people who specialize in other things in there to teach.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's Tana's thing, and I did do that one year, and I really, really loved being able to teach like other gals and just connect with them because I loved all the attendees. They were awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. You were doing was it trapping and fur?
Yeah, for
Maintaining
handling.
fur handling. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's always something. Like my wife isn't into hunting, but she supports me and understands why I do it. But tanning is something she's expressed interest in, and doing it the old way, like the way that it was done, like rain tanning with and going through all that. So it'd be nice to try and find a course somewhere up here that we could learn how to do that, because it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And like I'm just always love the idea of learning more about like the full circle of what you're doing. Like if you're trapping, if you can flesh and tan your own hides, like that's great. If like and you're hunting, like being able to butcher and process your own animal if you want to. Like I have nothing against like we take our stuff to the wild game butcher here and there if like we don't have time or we want something special made, then we'll drop it off. But for the most part, we butcher our own animals, and I flesh all my animals that I trap. I do send my furs off though to get tanned, just because I want like I'm gonna have garments made from my furs, and if I'm gonna have them made into garments, they have to be a certain quality of a tan. So like if I were to do like a brain tan on my beavers or otters, and then I sent them to somebody to make them into like a coat, it wouldn't be at the quality that they need to work with, and they wouldn't work with it.
Okay.
So like I could probably make my own like beaver mittens and stuff. Like I want high quality things made.
Right.
So yeah.
Do you have like a bucket list hunt that you would love to do?
Man. Yeah. So that's tough because like I said earlier, I love everything.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for me. There's a lot of things I want to do. I would say near the top would be Caribou in Alaska, which when I say that, people are like, Caribou, why not moose or whatever? And I'm like, would I like to shoot a moose? Yeah, I think that'd be cool. But like moose doesn't do it for me like it does most people because I don't know. Caribou, like I've never seen one ever. Like, yes, we have different moose where I live. They're the Shiras moose. They're not like the big giant ones.
Right.
Like I've seen moose my whole life. Like they're not super crazy. They don't have like this mystical kind of thing behind them.
Right.
So I'd love to do a caribou hunt in Alaska, and I would love to shoot a mountain goat somehow. Like mountain goats are so cool, like beautiful, like ghosts, like kings of the mountain.
Yeah.
In Idaho, you have to put in for like a draw to get one, and if you get mountain goat, bighorn, and moose are all once in a lifetime animals. So if you get the tag and you fill it, that's your one and you're done. You can't apply for them ever again, which is fine.
You're out.
You're what?
Cut out. You're cut out. That's it.
Yeah, you're done. Get out of here.
Done.
You can go apply for another once in a lifetime, but like if you got a shot of moose, you don't ever get to put in for moose again.
Yeah.
But I keep the last like few years I kept putting in for mountain goat with like 3% draw odds. I'm like, please.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm blacklisted though somehow because I don't get drawn for anything. But
Yeah, it's like our moose. We have a point system for moose now, so depending on the area you're applying to, like I've heard people of all different types of like number of points getting a tag, but it all depends on where you want to go. So if you
yeah,
want to go to the you know the very popular area, it might take 25 points, right? Or
yeah,
you can travel 10 hours north and maybe get one with 4 to 5 or 6 or 7. So it's kind of a mixed bag for that. But yeah, caribou hunting it's on my list too. It's right at the tippity top. And I want to do a woodland caribou in Newfoundland because that's the
oh,
only place they are. And they're just spectacular out there. I haven't seen one
yeah,
other than watching them in Donnie Vincent movies and stuff like that. But
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's right up there for me. So
That'd be really cool. I would also, this is funny because I just talked with a couple the other day who dropped off a skull, and we were talking about hunts and everything, and they were talking about how their friend is going on African safari with their family
mhm.
and the things that they were going to go shoot. And they asked me if I'd ever been to Africa. And I said, no, I haven't been to Africa yet. And I said, if I ever go, the animal that would be my number one is like no one's number one. I would love to shoot a spotted hyena.
Oh,
And not just anyway, you should go watch it because it's pretty crazy. I don't know if you've ever done any like predator calling before. Like we'll go predator call for coyotes and stuff. I've done that a lot my whole
yep,
life. And it's really fun. Well, in Africa, uh, they'll have like predator management hunters come out, like PHs, when they have like a village that's getting like a lot of problems with hyenas killing their cattle and everything or terrorizing the village.
yep,
They'll come out at night on their big like rigs and set up their guns with thermals and then set out a call of like a group of hyenas like all worked up over a kill, and it is wild. Within like 30 seconds, if the hyena's around, they just come out like freaking out of the woodwork and they're charging in like to go kill something. And then they just start shooting all the hyenas. It's like so intense.
well,
And I was like, I want to go do that. Like,
sign
screw
me
the
up.
impalas and like the
Yeah, yeah,
kudu. Like, I want to
yeah,
go shoot a spotted hyena coming in to kill me at night with a thermal.
yeah, yeah.
And they're huge.
We'll make it more interesting and make it be dark outside. Yeah,
Yeah. Be dark, totally dark. But yeah, I think that would be really cool. A leopard would be super
yeah,
cool, but oh my gosh, I will never be able to afford that. It's like 30 grand to go shoot a leopard. So,
yeah.
like, yeah, probably not. If I have 4 kids and each of my kids has 2 kidneys, and you can give
You only need one.
they only really need one, and I'll keep mine. So if they end up needing an extra, I'll give
That's
it
right.
to them.
This might
Oh
work
man.
out. This might work out. Yeah.
Hey, I got a plan.
Do you have
Oh,
a hunting story you can share before we get off here?
oh man. Yeah, I've got lots of hunting stories. I'm trying to think
Or
of,
even an outdoor experience that something that stuck with you. Well, they all do, but you know.
oh gosh, man. Um, you know, I do have a lot of hunting stories, and there's probably some that are more interesting than others, but I think one of the most impactful hunting stories that I have was, and it's really led to who I am now, because I have changed a lot in the last 6 years. If I look back on Laura 6 years ago, I
Mhm.
was a totally different person when it came to my confidence and I'd almost say courage. But 6, 7 years ago, I used to be irrationally scared of bears. Like, so freaking scared of bears
Yep.
that it hindered my experiences and my like enjoyment of the outdoors. And this all stemmed from when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and my parents took my sister and I on a backpacking trip. And the spot that my dad wanted to camp was a lot further than he anticipated. And so there was a point where we were hiking at night to get into the camp. And I remember this so vividly. We were walking this tree line. It was full moon, so you could see really well. We didn't have any headlamps. So luckily there was a freaking moon. But to the left of us was this big open meadow, and we're walking on the tree line. So it's all dark and creepy over here. It's my dad, my sister, me, and my mom walking in a line. And I start to cry. I'm 4 or 5 years old. It's like, I don't even know what time it is. I'm crying, and my mom stops me after like a couple minutes, turns me around and says, if you keep crying, a bear or a mountain lion's going to come in here and eat you because they think that you're a wounded animal. And I was like, I did not make another sound the rest of the hike. But that
just
thought,
turned into a core memory.
oh my gosh, that thought stuck with me forever. Just on like the thought that something's gonna come out and try to eat me. And I'm also a very small person. Right. So like I look easy to eat. I don't know, like a friggin' mountain lion can kill a cow elk. I'm like, half the time I'm tired and I look like an injured, sick animal hiking around. But so 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I reached a point where I was like, I wasn't going, like, I wanted to, like, I was hunting. I'm like, I want to go down there because, like, this looks good. I'm like, oh, but it's, like, thick and it's, like, creepy and, like, I can't see very far. And so it was inhibiting me from doing what I needed to do or wanted to do. And I was not getting a full experience when I would go out because I would just put on the brakes over the fear of maybe running into a bear.
Right.
And so I decided that year, I was like, you know what? I'm freaking sick of this. Like, I'm sick of feeling so scared. And it didn't help that I had some people in my life who kind of like fed into that fear and like did not help me. Like, they're like, yeah, no, you gotta be careful. Like, you get eaten. It's like,
shut up.
I might. Thanks. But that year I was like, I'm going to buy a bear tag. You know what? I'm like sick of this. I'm actually going to get a bear tag and I'm going to go out of my way to go and try and find one. And I'm going to kill that freaking bear.
I'll show you.
Yeah. And so I bought that tag in fall time for Washington, and I didn't end up getting one. But the next spring is when I met my husband. And when I met him, he was bear baiting. And in Washington, you can't bait bears. So I was like, oh gosh, that's really freaking cool. Like, I know nothing about bear baiting and like really just bear hunting in general. I knew nothing. And he was like, well, I'll keep my bait running. Like, he'd already shot his 2 for the spring. He's like, you want to buy a tag? I'll let you like come shoot a bear on my bait. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. So I ended up shooting one. And it was funny because when I shot that bear, it was like a small, raggedy, nasty looking sow. Like, she was like freaking Smeagol from Lord of the Rings. But
that'll do it.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit. And I was like, I shot her. But I wasn't scared at all in the moment when I shot her and I had Jace with me. And it was a really cool experience. But the most meaningful, like pivotal hunt, I think, in my life to this point was the next year when we went and put out a different bait somewhere. And within 24 hours, I got hit on a brand new bait, which is, for where we are, is like, that's really freaking good. If you get a bear same day, sometimes it takes like 2 weeks for them to find it or whatever. And we went and happened to be up in the area like the next day. We're mushroom hunting. So we're like, let's just go like throw some more stuff out because we didn't bring all the bait we had. We checked camera and saw that there had been a bear there already. And my husband was like, you need to sit this bait tonight. He's like, you need to sit this tonight because it just found it yesterday. It's going to be here today. I'll watch the kids. You come out here. And I'm like, by myself?
Whoa, time out.
All alone? I was like, he was like, yeah. He's like, you can do it. Like, he's like, I'll watch the kids. You drive out here and you come sit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. And we're still dating at this point. So I'm like, I'm not a pussy. I'm a big girl. And it's kind of embarrassing to talk. Like, it is and it's not, because I have grown so much from this, but we went home. I changed, and he's like, all right. He's like, you better sit until like last light. And he's like, you don't leave that bait. Don't sit. Yeah. Which where that bait was like the Blair Witch Woods. It was so creepy in there.
Yeah.
And you had to walk like 350 yards off the road, the trail, to get through the sketchy Blair Witch Woods. To then, and we don't build a blind or anything, and we don't sit in tree stands. We sit literally on the ground.
Oh, that's even worse.
50 yards from the bait. So I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, it was a 45-minute drive from the house out to where I'd park. I'm gonna be totally honest. I was sitting there crying to myself because I was so scared to go walk into the woods where there's gonna be a bear somewhere around, and I was gonna sit there on the ground feeling vulnerable as hell by myself till dark and like wait to shoot a bear. I went and sat, I think 4 or 5 times for like 3-4 hour sits with nothing happening. And I so remember this clear as day. I was walking in probably the 6th time I was going in to sit, and I parked. I had like anxiety every time I would take the drive. I'd be like, oh gosh. And the 5th or 6th time, I was on my way out there and I felt different. And I parked and I went to I'm looking at the edge of the woods, the creepy Blair Witch Woods. And I was like, something changed in me where I wasn't scared anymore. I literally told myself, I was like, I'm going to kill this fucking bear. Like, I went from being so scared to I was so sick of feeling that way. I was like, you know what? Now I'm just pissed. And I'm like, now I'm going to do this. Yeah. And I went and I sat, and a bear did come in, but it something must have happened because it got all spooked. I don't know if it smelled me or whatever, but it turned around and left. And it was so my heart was going, but it wasn't a scared feeling. It was like, oh, that was the bear. I almost got it. Mm-hmm. And I ended up going in later and I shot one off the bait. I stalked it off the bait and shot him right in the face because he was pushing off, and I was trying. The trees are you're only seeing little windows. He's 100 yards. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he was about to go over the top of the ridge, and I laid down, and there was this tree with a V in it, and I could see part of his shoulder, and I was like, if he looks out, if he takes a peek around that tree, I'm gonna shoot him right in the face. Coming up, he's like, hello. Peeked out, and I freaking nailed him and dumped him right there. But that whole hunt, the story isn't anything crazy. Nothing crazy happened, but it is probably my most sentimental story, most impactful story for me to tell, because that was the hunt that changed who I was as an outdoorsman for the rest of my life. It was a 180, and I suddenly wasn't scared anymore, and my mind just changed. So I do tell that story to mainly women who are just getting out into the outdoors, and they're like, well, you're not scared to go alone. I'm like, no, I'm not scared. And they're like, well, you're just so courageous. Oh, you're so you go alone, you're so cool. I'm like, there was a time where I was crying on my way to the woods because I was so scared, but it all changed. And I'm like, no, I'm no badass. I always say I'm more like a dumbass. I am really just a persistent dumbass. I just don't give up. but it's just a story of encouragement that if you're scared or afraid, and not letting anything hold you back, and not letting yourself hold you back. And yeah, that was probably my most pivotal hunt I ever went on, was that one bear season where I faced all my fears and conquered them. And now I'm not scared of bears. I have very healthy respect of bears. I'm very smart. I've shot 9 bears now, and 6 of them have been by myself. And I've ran my own bear bait this year, 100% by myself, found the spot, went and started it and maintained it all alone. And I've never been scared to go do that or nothing, but I'm just very smart. I'm cautious, I pay attention, I'm safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
amazing.
That's my one story.
That's a fantastic story. Did you ever tell your mom the effect her words had on you.
No, I actually did never tell her that.
No,
She'd probably been like, I don't remember that at all.
that's right. Yeah. I didn't say that.
I think you're making that up.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. There's people that'll say, "Oh, black bears don't scare me." I'm like, everybody walking out of the woods in the dark after they're trying to hunt a bear, and you're leaving an area that you just put a lot of food in for them to eat. There's a little bit of, like to
Yeah.
get back to the car as fast as possible.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
I
for
don't care who you
sure.
are. I don't care who you are, or how long you've been doing it. I'm just gonna say that because it's true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I've
Thank
taken
you.
up a significant amount of your afternoon. Thank you very much for coming on here. Can you let everybody know where they can find you?
You can either find me on my personal page, Laura's Outdoor Life, and kind of follow along with all my hunting, trapping, fishing adventures, some family stuff. You really get to see like my personality on my personal page. And then if you want to go see my work, you can find me at Western Skies Skulls and Jewelry. I made sure to pick something long so everyone would forget it. But if you want to go see that, that's
Awesome.
where you can find me on Instagram there.
Awesome. Wicked. Thank you very much for coming on here. And maybe we can circle back at the end of the season and see how everything played out for you.
Yeah. A lot going on. So I'm sure I won't be short of things to talk about between myself, my kids, my husband. It's going to be a lot.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.